It's been over 3 months since the first case of COVID-19 was documented in the States. And now, with many of us logging over 8 weeks of staying at home or sheltering in place, it's safe to say that we've all got a case of the Haddits. But with orthodontic offices starting to open across the country, it seems that there's finally a light at the end of the tunnel. And we're reasonably certain it's not just an oncoming train. To share his thoughts on all this, as well as how he's keeping spirits high, we'll be speaking to the Ortho World's version of Dr. McDreamy, the one and only Cole Johnson. Pour yourself a quarantini. It's time for some straight talk.
Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of Straight Talk. I'm Tracy Martin, and I'm the founder of Straight Consulting and the lead consultant for the company. With me today are always my co-hosts, Scott Caldwell, creative director, and Janelle Baum, also practice consultant. Thanks for coming.
Great to be here.
Thanks for being here, Janelle. You guys always make my day. How's it been this week?
It's been a good week. I actually put on pants for 3 or 4 of the days, so that's an improvement. Kind of trying to reintegrate myself into the world of hard pants, which means anything that's not sweatpants or pajamas.
Yes, those awful hard pants, those jeans. Yeah. So constricting now.
How about you, Janelle?
Yeah, my week is going great, guys. Been very busy. I'm saving on hairspray. The mohawk's getting a little high, but we're working it out. Things are great.
Yeah, I'm in full quarantine beard mode. I feel like it's my opportunity to go just full Unabomber here and let that ride for a few weeks. Since I can't get a haircut, might as well just invest in the whole thing, kind of Tom Hanks Castaway style.
I can hear you.
Awesome. Well, let's just jump right in. Our guest today is someone who really needs no introduction, but then again, no one needs that 5th shot of tequila either. When he's not busy as the lead singer and guitarist for Relapse, the world's preeminent orthodontic 80s cover band, he's also a husband, a father to 8 adorable children, and a part-time smile designer for Johnson Family Orthodontics. All the way from Salem, Oregon, please welcome our friend, Dr. Cole Johnson.
Yay!
What up?
So good to be here, guys. I'm very, very honored. Can't wait to hear about what your guys' plans are for it. But as a guest, it's an honor.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We started talking about the show on the short list of who the guests we'd most like to chat with, and your name was the top of the list. So glad you're able to make it work.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Hey,
Cheers. Yes.
So now, Cole, you were going back to work here real soon, right?
Yeah, in Oregon, they were one of the first states to, ask for all of our PPE, take it away, and say June 15th. So that was 2 months ago. That was a 3-month thing, but they walked it back, and so we get to start on Monday. So I'm excited. There are no miss, but I definitely need back to work.
Yeah, I'm ready. I need to travel so bad. It's unreal. Like, I love that I don't know if it's a GIF or that meme that's going on. Whatever the kids
are on the treadmill.
Yeah, on the treadmill. I get enjoyment watching it. That's how sad this is, because I'm so used to traveling throughout the week that this is I'm over it. Over it.
It feels like travel porn watching someone actually pull a rollaway suitcase. So, Cole, you've been out now for several weeks. How did you weather the pandemic? What was that like, having 8 kids and a wife and being home from work for that long?
I loved it. I really did. I had no, it was less stressful than I would have imagined it. It would have been if somebody told me, hey, your life at work, professional life is going to be put on hold. You're going to have to let go all your employees. You're going to have a dearth of PPE, and you're going to have 8 weeks where you're just sitting at home, I would have thought that I would have gone crazy, but I had moments of stress, but it was largely a very, very fun and memorable time. I liked it.
That's awesome.
Love it. Love it.
So, talking about family memories, Cole, what was like one or two highlights of being home with 8 kids? Obviously, they're all very different phases developmentally. What was like one or two things that were just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we got to experience this during quarantine?
Well, a lot of it is just stuff that would never have happened otherwise. Like you have to be around each other long enough to get comfortable with certain things. Like you joke about, Scott, having to put on pants this morning. I don't think we've dressed any of our kids, especially since the weather's nice now. They're running around like just wild little Native Americans out in the yard, like just eating dirt clods and finding dead crickets. And it is just bizarre to watch our family turn feral before my eyes.
Are they passing around a conch shell to talk? Are they fighting? How bad?
Exactly. It's Lord of the Flies, and then meal times are just so nondescript. Are there goldfish on the floor or are there not times? And it's funny because we're usually such a regimented family, but this has let us, let our hair down, and we didn't go full like Amish outlaw like you did, Scott, but I haven't threaded my eyebrows in a fortnight, which is a record for me.
Yeah. I thought they were looking especially.
Yes.
They were. I wasn't going to say anything. Yeah. I was trying to keep.
I don't want to make it awkward.
Yeah.
So, Cole, going back to like the ortho side of things, you have been one of kind of the front runners here as far as video communications with your patients. We're really doing very proactive outreach, really embracing the idea of the smile assessments and virtual consults. How much of that has been a learning curve for you?
100% of it. So, it was just an idea of me trying to save time. I didn't really want to do live virtual consults. So I thought I'm just going to record myself ahead of time and do just so they can have some FaceTime of me asking them questions, over video, which is still not as good as a face-to-face. And it might not be as good as a live virtual call, but it's just a step below that. And luckily my patients totally appreciated it. Most of them thought that I legitimately made the video just for them. So that was good. And it turned out being pretty slick, and I liked it.
That's awesome.
Great.
So what has the impact been on your practice? Did you have to do full furlough? Were you able to kind of keep most of your team on? How's it been for you?
No, I wanted to it was important to me to let them all go, like clean cut. I just said, we're going to be out for such a long time. You guys are all fired. You're out of here. And then after all the tears and everything, and after I was able to explain everything, we literally got on all the computer and I said, I'm making you all get on unemployment like right now. This is not because you're lazy. This is not because I don't need you. This is because the government told us we had to close. This is what unemployment is for. And then as soon as they started getting benefits, then we worked backwards. And the first people to get their benefits, we brought them back, because you still can receive benefits and just kind of walk back the hours a little bit. So it makes much more sense to take advantage of the deepest pockets. And even though our practice is fine, we pay into unemployment. So it was very important that we took advantage of this time that it's available. So very grateful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
Janelle, every time your face pops up on the screen, like you get really big, and I see that fabulous necklace, and all I can think of is like one of those 90s Star Trek characters that is like, has a guest appearance and Picard makes out with her for 2 episodes and then she's gone. But I love that necklace. I love the mohawk is literally out of the screen. Freaking keep it. I love it.
Yeah, my daughter can put it in a French braid now. That's how long it's getting. And my husband shaves the sides, so you got
if it gets stormy, do not go outside with that necklace. That is like that is a hazard, my friend.
I have to get a chiropractic adjustment after this episode, just because it's holding up my neck.
So I know I have known Cole for a few years, and I know that you and Janelle have also known Cole for a few years. But in starting to prepare for this episode, I had to kind of think back at what point did I actually meet him? Because I knew of Cole Johnson, but I hadn't met him in real life. And I think it was actually at MKS a couple years ago that Cole and I were on the same panel. And I think that's probably the first time we met, right, Cole?
Probably. Probably. Yeah.
Maybe.
In your diary.
I will go back in my diary and see when but I know, Cole, I know that you've been practicing since 2011. And, of course, I've been to many of the meetings to see your fantastic lectures.
Yeah, we saw entrepreneurs. You killed it just recently at Kyle Fagala's the Digital Orthodontic Live, TDO Live, for those in the know.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And I watched the TCs kind of freak out in our TC Facebook group about, the stand up with the I got the text message. Did you see what Cole Johnson did?
I think I also sent you that like immediately.
So I in my mind, there were half the people knew that it was coming. Like you guys were simply not surprised by it. Then the other half of the people didn't know me at all, and they probably thought that I legitimately had made a mistake. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to see some of the reactions.
Yeah, right.
That's the best when you do it. You knock it out of the park.
But for those who aren't familiar, Cole, why don't you give us just a quick minute about your background? I know we kind of jump right in here, but tell us a little bit about yourself. What's Johnson's story in 60 seconds or less?
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up here in Salem, Oregon. Big family. Mom and dad, just the nicest, sweetest, pot smoking hippies ever. They're just really salt of the earth people. Nobody had ever really gone to college. The furthest people had traveled from my hometown, the little trailer park that I grew up in, was like, the county jail 2 counties over. And I just, come full circle. I went to high school, residency, made my way back here to Salem, Oregon, and I built a house literally a few blocks away from my childhood home, like where my dad lives in his little trailer. And it's fabulous. It's wonderful.
That is awesome. What a good idea. If I could stay my parents. Yeah. that would work.
Yeah. Fabulous.
Awesome. So coming out of pandemic here, like what are some of the things that are going to be different about Johnson Family Orthodontics compared to pre-COVID?
Scott, that is a great question. And you're not the first person to ask me that. I was the first person to ask me that. And I'll probably be the third after I finish with this meeting. I don't know. Time will tell, but immediately the differences will be, we'll have to see a lot less patients, a lot less efficiently. We'll be as efficient as possible, but we cannot herd them in to catch everyone up. If there would be a time where we would just pack the schedule and just burn the midnight oil, it would be now, but I cannot burn out my team. I cannot compromise anyone's safety. I just got to play it slow. And the great challenge is going to be continued patience. I've proffered so much of my patience up till now, but it's like when you open the door for the Chihuahua to get out after you come back from vacation, like trying to get the Chihuahua to not pee all over the grass immediately. Like you just have to, you can't, you still gotta hang on, because it's the next few months are gonna really continue to test our patience, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one piece of advice from everything you've learned? So you've been super plugged into the circuit here and the different Zooms and webinars stuff. What's the one piece of advice you'd give for a team facing reopening, since you are literally just about to do it?
And maybe something specific to the doctors, maybe something more specific to the teams.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great, because you do have to consider both. We come from 2 different planets, and the doctors that are coming back, they're going to be really trying to catch up their patients, but they're going to be really concerned about catching up with all the bills. And a lot of the staff will have been taken care of, we hope, either by their bosses or their spouses or the government help. but that's not something that the orthodontists were able to get. So the scripts flipped a little bit, and the doctors have to realize that by inviting their staff back, some of them will be working harder than they ever have and making less money than they did while they were trying to get their kid through their online schooling. And the staff has to realize that the doctor has been in a position that they're not familiar with, which is a little bit strapped there. Like, we were asking our landlord to please not charge us the $8,000 lease for that month, because we needed a home to come back to, at least professional home. So there's in any opportunity of stress, one of the most therapeutic things you can do is just take off your own shoes, look around for someone else's, and put them on and just start walking around. And so the doctors have got to empathize with the staff, like what a culture shock it'll be from them being at home with their kids to being back at work and maybe working under some different conditions, that stress that will cause. And then the staff has got to be so patient with the doctors. They're going to have a different type of stress. So just, how doctors, they just need to be petted. They need to be told that everything's going to be okay. They need to be told that they're smart and they're beautiful and they're going to, everything's going to be happy and shiny once again. They're just going to need your support. And I know we're kind of babies and kind of divas sometimes, but so are the staff. We just need to take turns doing it so that we're not all babies and divas at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
You is kind. You is important.
Well said. I can't take that out. I can't wait to take that all back.
All right. Well, let's do to kind of close things out here. Let's do a quick lightning round.
The lightning round.
Just go fire away a couple questions here. Just first answer that pops into your mind. So,
bring it on.
Tracy, jump.
Okay. You ready? Why unicorns? I've always wanted to know. Why unicorns?
I did a few braces on foster kids, and I ended up getting donations because there's a few business owners who were like, I was a foster kid. I would love to donate to your program so that you can put braces on more foster kids. And I was like, oh, sure. And I was brand new in practice. And so people just started giving me money. And when I reported it to my accountant, he's like, you can't do that. That's illegal. You are not a non-for-profit. You can't accept charitable donations. I was like, oh, okay. So he's like, got to stop doing that. Next year, on my way home from the accountant, my daughter was really into unicorns. I think that one of the movies came out. Was it Gru? There's a unicorn in like.
Oh yeah. Despicable Me.
It's Despicable Me. Yeah. Despicable Me. And there's this stuff, and I thought, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Like, and I had a T-shirt that was already in the works that unicorns were just back then were actually. Like 10 years ago, they were not a thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
They were not a thing.
They're kind of having a cultural moment the last few years, it feels like.
Yeah.
Right. And really, if you go back 10 years ago, you look at the Google terms, they were just not a thing yet. And so we just, just to be funny and clever, I made some T-shirts with the unicorn jumping over a rainbow with braces on. And so what I did is I just ordered a bunch of stuffed animals. And so the next year, my accountant's like, what are these? Where did this money come from? Like, where's this $20,000? And I just said, they're from unicorn sales. And wink, wink. So basically, they were the charitable donations, but every time somebody gave a donation, I would give them a unicorn. So he's like, technically, it's a line item. He's like, well, you mean somebody paid $200 for a unicorn? I'm like, sure. I'm allowed to charge what I want.
They're unicorns. They're premium unicorns.
Premium fluff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it came from me trying to make sure that people who wanted to contribute to the program could without me going to jail.
I love it.
That's a great answer. Wow. All right. Okay.
All right. What are you reading right now?
Oh, I'm reading a great book. You guys have probably heard of it, but it's called The Alchemist.
Classic. Paul Coelho. It's awesome.
And it's one that I'll read. There's probably 3 books that I'll read every few years. One is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Classic.
One is The Alchemist. And the other is the Harry Potter series. I mean, just 3 different, very, very, very different books. But I don't even care to read good stories anymore. I like to read good writing. But when there's a good story and good writing, that's the magic of a book. Like take the Twilight series, for instance. An incredible story. It's a very good story. but it's very poorly written.
Right.
So it's digestible. And then you take something like any of like John Irving's novels, boring stories, but great writing. So it's just,
right.
yeah. When those two things intersect, it's a good book.
Do yourself a favor if you haven't already. There's an audio book version of The Alchemist, and it's narrated by Jeremy Irons, and it is just ear candy.
Nice.
Fantastic.
That voice, I can hear that voice. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so good. All right, next question. Janelle, hit him.
Yeah, so I'm a little off the wall. So I've got an off the wall, what would you rather question.
Oh, bring it. I love what would you rather.
Me too. Okay, would you rather fart every time you have a serious conversation or burp every time you're kissing?
I'll take the flatulence for 100 because I like kissing to me like that is I don't mess around with that. There's very few women that
later you do not mess around with that.
Yeah. Like serious conversations, I probably make out with my wife 11 times for every serious conversation. So I will probably take the I don't want to burp.
Yeah.
I take my time with Daisha very seriously.
Yeah.
I want to know, of your cooking episodes, which one is your favorite?
My favorite was the one where we started like, you guys, hopefully you saw it, but we literally started with taking my son out to chop the chicken's head off. So by the end of the day, we could fabricate a made chicken pot pie.
Love it.
Well, that leads me to my very next question, which is, were you nervous about posting that particular video with your kids from what do we call it? From farm to table?
If I have a superpower, it is in every comic, there's the superhero that has this great power, but it always ends up being his greatest weakness. And mine is my lack of anxiety. I can't remember the last time I was able to feel embarrassment or social anxiety, but I definitely perceive it in others. And so I don't feel it's really hard to make me feel anxious, or awkward. Awkward is something I've never felt, but I see that other people feel sensitive to it. I see that it's a real emotion, but when I get to post stuff like that, I enjoy seeing other people's anxiety about it. It's really weird. Like I can see that it triggers people, and it's the bad part of that superpower to not feel nervous or embarrassed or anything. But it intrigues me that other people feel it, that they feel like these feelings. I'm like, I wonder what that's like to get that pit or fire in your belly about something. And it's fascinating to me. So no, I didn't feel anxiety, but I felt excitement for others' anxiety.
We might be related, Cole, because I have like no filter. So when I post things, I usually get a call from my mom and my dad that are like, no. And I'm like, Eric said I could. Eric's my husband. He's my voice of reason. And sometimes he's not. And I just post. So I get you.
And Janelle's and Cole's need Eric's and Dacia's. And they serve a great purpose. And as long as we listen to them and defer to them, then we're doing okay.
Speaking of Dacia, inquiring minds want to know, is she currently pregnant?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We want to know.
I don't know. I don't think so. Our ice cream and peppercini stock is fine, and usually that's the first thing to go is the ice cream and peppercinis. That's usually warning. Yeah, and also, no, I think we're good. I think we're done. I mean, never say never. I think she's done, and so I kind of have to be done. But I mean, I suppose that we could go to Canada and go find a baby somewhere and sneak it across the border. I don't know.
Yeah. You're basically in the backyard, right?
Well, I'm actually curious, like, what you could do beyond he put together a wonderful song, a very compelling song for his, agreement to have a child.
I can't believe you remember that. Yeah, there was the plea for that. We were almost done after 6, and I felt like there was a few more, and I'd used all my best tricks, and so I had to just do a Justin Bieber remake for that one, man. You'll have to provide a link so that they can see it, because I need to go check it out. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the link will be in the profile here in the bio.
Yeah, we'll put it in the comments. Don't worry.
Speaking of songs, Relapse just dropped the quarantine banger of the season, the remix of "Living on a Prayer," and I haven't laughed that hard in weeks. How was the writing process on that? Do you pen that yourself? Does Kyle and the team pitch in? Is it a?
No, it was a great collaboration. I miss those boys. They're all super great talents and just amazing guys. And we were so bummed that we were not going to be able to play at the AAO. We had been slated to play a show or two, and man, it was so bummed. So we're like, we should do a cover. And Kyle was really, he's definitely the technical side that can pull it off. And Chris Teeters had like an idea, and Brian and Seta they're the best. They're game for everything and anything. And so I just said, hey, hold my Mountain Dew. And a few days later, I pitched the idea, and we all put it together, and it was super fun. Turned out great. I have to do a social distancing video. I loved it.
No, it was killer. It was absolutely killer.
It was great.
Can we look forward to a Relapse album at some point in the future? I feel like your body of work is getting up there. I think the people.
I feel like we're ready.
No, I mean,
we're ready. Let me speak for the audience. We're ready.
Well, people don't listen to albums. Like here's the thing. It's like listening to a DVD of like of your favorite comic. It might be funny, but man, there's nothing beats getting some drinks and going to the club to listen to the guy. Like, and I don't want to say that we're not good musically. Like I feel like we're all talented musicians, and I am very proud of like my abilities. But if you listen to it but we're not actually putting on a show, it's the show that is. You guys have been to a show.
Yeah.
But I don't think you guys understand that being at the show and watching the stage presence of me and my boys, and like seeing the little goodies that we have in the show, that's how people need to experience it. I would not want the first person to be introduced to be Relapse, their experience to be like earbuds. I mean, because then you're just knocking off a Bon Jovi song. Or
no, it's more like Fish or Grateful Dead or even like Dave Matthews. It's better experience live. Like the album doesn't do it justice.
For sure. So some artists are good enough where you can feel the feels by listening to the music, but Relapse, it will always, it's meant to be listened to and watched at the same time. And we can't wait for the next show, man. We've got some plans. It's whenever we play next, you guys make sure you book a ticket, because it's going to be huge.
Yay.
Okay, so speaking of, that goes into another question I have of, what are your thoughts? Do you think that we're going to be able to get to attend Orthopreneurs and Pearls this year?
I think so. Yes. I think that probably let's see, when is Pearls? Is at the beginning of September, right?
I believe so. And I know that OPS is mid-October.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I hope it's only a small part wishful thinking. Do you think that they will happen? I do.
It's power positivity, people. We got this. I already started packing.
She did too.
I love it. Well, we need to start wrap things up. So, Janelle, one more question from you. Lightning round. Let's wrap it. Close.
What is your favorite George Michael song?
Oh, well, I guess it could be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody has got a body like you. I'm actually working on there's an artist in England who I'm working with. She's got an amazing voice, and she's actually pretty well known. And I'm writing this like a really slow piano cover for that song for her. And it's just really like sultry, and she's just got this jazzy kind of a Amy Winehouse and it's just slow, smoky room. Just kind of, it's a beautiful version. I'll hopefully by the time you guys post this, it won't be too long before we get it up there. But man, I love that song.
Sweet. Good to know. That was from my doctor, Dr. Rob. He wanted to know that.
Okay, so I want to know if the mullet was something that you asked your son to do, or if he was the one who saw it and was like, I need that.
Okay, I'm kind of a diva when it comes to haircuts. And so when I took my son in and new girl Stacy started going at it, I could tell immediately she was super nervous. Like it might have been one of her first haircuts. So I just called timeout. I was like, as soon as she did the side, like as soon as there was a stopping point where it didn't look horrible, I made her stop, paid her, gave her a nice tip so she didn't feel bad, and then took my son home. Like, dude, next time we go to that place, I got to get somebody different. And you didn't really notice. Daisha didn't really notice that it was still longer in the back. The next time, they started where they ended, and so they started in the sides. It looked like a mullet. And I was like, okay, just stop there. So we ended up just stopping them, and it took about 2 haircut cycles before my wife to be like, what is this? And by then, it was like too late. You don't wear the mullet wears you. And by that time, it had taken over his whole persona, and a great.
One last question.
I have one last question. Okay, ready? Is there a secret fact or a secret, maybe it's your deepest, darkest fear, but is there something that most people don't know about you?
That has not been shared in a keynote or some sort of other address.
Nothing on social media.
First time to hear it, guys, right here.
Straight talk.
I mean, I truly, truly am an introvert. I enjoy things like this, but they make me so tired. And as much as I enjoy this, I enjoy so much more, like reading a book or sitting down at the piano alone or staring at a white wall or like just writing things that only I will read. And I think that people make extrovert because they mean it as a compliment. They're saying, Cole, you're very good at it. But I had a friend in high school who was 6'4" and like 220 pounds and just an amazing athlete, but he hated sports. And I always wanted him to be on my flag football team and my basketball team, but Derek wanted nothing to do. He would do it, but it was not his, and he was great at it, but it wasn't his natural state to be an athlete. So me, like Derek, I have the great ability to be charming and witty, I hope. And I feel like I'm good at it, but it is not my natural state. My natural habitat is introvertism to a T. And people, I may not convince anyone, but I just need them to know that I have self-diagnosed myself and I get my energy by being by myself, not by being around other people.
Well, and I think that's such a misconception, so that's one thing that I learned a few years ago. It's like, there's a difference between being outgoing and being an extrovert. My dad is very similar. Like he is an outgoing introvert. He can play the game. He can be friendly. He can, make people feel welcome and connected and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it is draining. And the difference between introvert and extrovert is how you recharge. And like you said, when you're at home, when it's like the kids are out of the house, you got nothing to do but read a book and doodle on the piano. It's like your world is you're topped off, But something like this, like but then you get done with it, and you're like, I just need to go lay on the couch for a while.
Right, and Scott, you find yourself. I look forward, like I plan my days so I can maximize. I plan my weeks and my months. So, and just this is a little fun fact. Like my wife allows me at least once a month. Sometimes it's every other month, but she'll let me go to a hotel and spend the afternoon after work and then that night alone. And it sounds so shady, but it's in my hometown. I'm not getting away with anything, guys. Trust me.
Yeah.
No, it's your mental exercise.
And I get a 24-hour period where I don't answer my phone. I don't click a like on Facebook. I literally read, and I might bring a ukulele, but I completely unplug because so many people require me. People don't like that version. That version of me is not very likable. They want the Cole who's going to, dance monkey, like be funny, like do the thing where you make us feel good.
Yeah, do the thing.
I don't. It's like me asking Derek, like Derek, dunk. I don't like to dunk. Please do it. Just show my friends that you can windmill, and he could. And I just saw that was the equivalent of people saying, like, I mean, people just sometimes need me and I don't want to be needed.
Totally fair.
That's awesome. I love her so much more for that.
On behalf of Janelle and Tracy and I, we appreciate you venturing out of that introvert comfort zone to be the first guest here on Straight Talks. Thanks so much for that.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Everybody cheers. Let's end this on a nice, long, far.
Clink, 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 clink.
And hopefully we'll get to see you at Pearls and Orthopreneurs, honestly.
For sure.
And
Hoping for that. I have confidence and faith. I would love that. I would love to see you guys again. Can't wait to give you all a big hug. This was so much fun. I can't wait to see the forthcoming episodes, but you guys are doing good things. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much for being here on behalf of the Straight Talk team. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Straight Talk.
bye.